Hello dear students. In today's video we are going to discuss oxidation state and other chemical properties of group 16. So let us begin with oxidation state. We know that group 16 element, they show configuration NH2NP4. If we look at the orientation in PX, PY and PZ, there will be some kind of sharing of electrons. So group 16 elements can show -2 oxidation state as they will accept 2 electrons in these remaining vacant p orbitals, as well as they can show +2 oxidation state by losing these 2 electrons, as well as they can show +4 or +6 oxidation state by loss of 4 electrons from p orbital and 2 on all electrons from ns2 and np4 orbitals. So overall we can divide them into two categories, the positive oxidation state and negative oxidation state. So let us begin with negative oxidation state. Oxygen, as we know, it is the second most electronegative element, and therefore it will always show -2 oxidation state. This is the most common oxidation state of oxygen, but there are certain exceptions also. For example, in case of peroxide, it will show -1 oxidation state, and in case of superoxides, oxygen will show -1/2 oxidation state. So these two cases are exceptions. One more exception we'll be discussing during positive oxidation state. Now other elements also show -2 oxidation state, but as we move down the group, what happens? Electronegativity decreases. Electronegativity decreases, therefore tendency to show -2 oxidation state also decreases. That means polonium, it will never ever show -2 oxidation state. We can also refer to one fact that polonium is a metal, and therefore it will not have the tendency of gaining electron. Instead it will have tendency of losing electron, and therefore polonium will always show oxidation state of +2. Now positive oxidation state. As such, oxygen being most electronegative element, second most electronegative element, it will not show positive oxidation state. Exception is fluoride, like in OF2 or O2F2. On OF2, oxygen will show +2 oxidation state, and in O2F2 it will show +1 oxidation state. Now this is an exception. You have to remember this. Now the other elements, they can show +2, +4, +6 oxidation state. Why? Because they have d orbital in them, and presence of d orbital can lead to promotion of electrons. For example, sulfur with its configuration 3s2 3p4 and 3d lying vacant. In the first case, these two unpaired electron can account for its +2 oxidation state. In the second case, one electron from p can be promoted to d orbital. So presence of 4 unpaired electron can account for +4 oxidation state. In third case, one more electron from 3s can be promoted to 3d, and that will account for its +6 oxidation state. So we can say except oxygen, all other elements can show +2, +4 as well as +6 oxidation state. Now let us move to chemical properties and trends in chemical properties. Oxygen, we show it being an element of second period. It shows anomalous behavior like small size, high electronegativity, high ionization enthalpy, and absence of d orbital. Now this anomalous behavior will change a lot of properties of oxygen, same like that we have seen in nitrogen, that the covalency of oxygen gets restricted to 4, as there is no d orbital, so it cannot extend its covalency beyond 4. Because of its small size, it can form only p pi bond. It cannot form p pi d pi bond. And since it is very small in size, it can form only p pi bond. Oxygen exists in gaseous state. So oxygen exists in gaseous state with double bond in them. Okay. Now less catenation tendency than sulfur. Why? Because in oxygen, when it is bonded, doubly bonded, there will be 4 lone pairs. And there will be greater lone pair repulsion. And therefore oxygen will have less catenation tendency as compared to that of sulfur. On the other hand, sulfur will form single bond in them. There will be less electron repulsion, and it will show greater catenation tendency. It is your important give reason question. Okay, as well as sulfur shows high bond dissociation enthalpy because it is doubly bonded in them. Now the small size of oxygen has one more impact. Exceptionally small size of oxygen and high electronegativity makes in the formation of hydrogen bonding in water. In water molecule, if we consider the orientation, oxygen being more electronegative, it will attract the shared pair of electron towards itself, creating del minus and del plus charge on oxygen and hydrogen respectively. Now there will be attraction between them and it will result in the formation of hydrogen bond. And due to this hydrogen bond, water exists as liquid. This tendency is not observed in any other hydride of group 16. So it is only water which exists as liquid. Other elements do not show this property. This is the question which is repeated many a times in your board exams. Next, we have to study reaction with hydrogen. That is, we have to study the properties of hydrides. But before we study the properties of hydrides, let us revise the concepts that we have already done in the last videos. That whatever hydrides, whether it is of group 15, whether it is of group 16, 17, etc., they will show this common characteristic. That is, the thermal stability of hydrides will decrease down the group. Why? As the size of central atom increases, EH bond length decreases. Why the bond length decreases? It is because hydrogen is small in size and central atom becomes larger in size. To counterbalance that, the bond length decreases. Basic strength decreases down the group because as the size increases, the delocalization of lone pair is there. These concepts we have already seen in our last video. Bond angle decreases because the size increases. Boiling point increases, reducing character also increases, and we have seen reducing character is inversely proportional to thermal stability. So all these we are going to study with respect to group 16 elements today. All the elements of group 16, they form the hydride of the type H2E, where E will be any element from group 16. For example, H2O, H2S, H2SE, H2TE, etc. And the central atom or the element from group 16, they will have 2 lone pairs on them. The hydride of oxygen, which is the water, it's a colorless, odorless liquid, and hydrides of other elements, they are colorless but bad smelling as well as poisonous gases. The hydride of sulfur, that is H2S, it is made in Kipps apparatus. All of you must seen the preparation of H2S gas in the laboratory when you are doing salt analysis. In the Kipps apparatus, iron sulfide is taken in the solid form. Acid is poured on that and we get pungent smelling H2S gas. Now, if we study the structure of all these hydrides have angular structure in which the central atom is sp3 hybridized, and because of these 2 lone pairs, they will show angular structure. The bond angle in water, as we all know, it's 104.5 degree. But as we move down the group, the bond angle decreases down the group. It is because as we move down the group, the size of central atom increases, the electronegativity decreases, and the position of bond pairs of electron shifts more and more away from the central atom. As a result, there is a decrease in bond angle. If we look at the sequence or the order, H2O has highest bond angle as compared to other hydrides. The decrease in the bond angle can be attributed to one more reason, that as we move down the group, the repulsion between the lone pair and the bond pair, it will go on decreasing, and therefore there will be decrease in bond angle. So this difference in bond angle, it is a frequently asked question. Moving on to the next property, that is acidic character. As we move down the group, the acidic character increases. We can say that water is weakly acidic as compared to other hydrides. Now the explanation can be given like this. As we move down the group, the size of central atom increases. As the size of central atom increases, obviously the bond length will increase. Why? Because hydrogen being small in size. And bond dissociation enthalpy decreases. So bond cleavage becomes very easy and hydrogen can be released quickly. We know the substances which can release hydrogen, they are acidic in character. Therefore, we can say as we move down the group, the acidic character increases. So here there can be a question. So the question is, H2O is weakly acidic as compared to H2S. The next characteristic of hydride is boiling point. Now when we look at the data, as we move from water to H2S, the boiling point first of all decreases and then again it increases. So overall we can say that water shows highest boiling point, then boiling point decreases and then it increases for other hydrides. We can give two reasons for this. In water there exists hydrogen bonding, and for other elements as we move ahead, size of central atom increases. So what will happen? London forces will increase. As the London forces increases, boiling point also increases. The next characteristic is thermal stability. Thermal stability means the stability towards the heat, whether on heating the given compound will decompose easily or not. That is what we attribute to thermal stability. Now as we move down the group, what happens? The thermal stability decreases. Why? It is because on moving down the group, the size of the central atom increases, tendency to form stable covalent bond with hydrogen decrease, EH bond strength decreases. So EH bond can be broken very easily and therefore we have the sequence that water becomes thermally stable compound. If we look at the reducing character, the order is exactly reverse because the reducing character is inversely proportional to thermal stability. And therefore we will observe exactly reverse sequence. Now why this is observed? It is because greater the instability of hydride, greater will be reducing character. So we can say in hydrides of group 16, except water, all other elements can act as reducing agent. Next we are going to discuss reaction with oxygen. All the elements of group 16, they react with oxygen and form two types of oxides, EO2 and EO3, where E can be any element from group 16. In EO2, the element of group 16 will show +4 oxidation state, and in EO3, the element of group 16 will show +6 oxidation state. Now there are certain facts in this that you have to remember. Ozone, sulfur dioxide, these are gases. Whereas other oxide like selenium dioxide is a solid. Now the reducing property of oxide decreases Here we are talking about the oxides and not the hydrides. Decreases from SO2 to beryllium oxide. All these oxides are acidic in nature. So we can say generally it forms dioxide and trioxide. EO2 dioxide, EO3 trioxide. Let us discuss the example of sulfur dioxide, SO2. Now if we have a look at the structure of SO2, it shows the bent shape with one lone pair on it. So it shows bent structure. It shows bond angle of 119.5 degree, where sulfur shows sp2 hybridization. Now in this structure there will be resonance as well as the change in bond angle is due to avoid lone pair and bond pair repulsion. Now in SO2, sulfur shows +4 oxidation state. So it can easily go to +6 oxidation state, itself will get oxidized and therefore it can act as reducing agent. It is very easy to determine whether the given compound will act as an oxidizing agent or reducing agent. Just look at the stable oxidation state of the given element. If it is in lower oxidation state as compared to its stable oxidation state, then it will get oxidized. It will act as reducing agent. On the other hand, if it is in higher oxidation state as compared to its stable oxidation state, it will get reduced and then it will act as an oxidizing agent. How do the elements of group 16 react with halogens? When the elements of group 16 react with halogens, they form three types of compounds: dihalide, tetrahalide and hexahalide. In dihalide, they will show +2 oxidation state. In tetrahalide, they will show +4 oxidation state. And in hexahalide, they will show +6 oxidation state. So let us first discuss tetrahalides. In tetrahalides, SF4, it exists in gaseous state. ACF4, it exists in liquid state. And TeF4, that is beryllium fluoride, it exists in solid state. Now why I have taken the examples of fluoride only? Because the stability of stability of halides is in the order. Fluorides are highly stable as compared to chlorides and as compared to iodides. Generally speaking, in tetrahalides, they show sp3 dehybridization, and since sp3 dehybridization is there, they are expected to have trigonal bipyramidal structure. But obviously there are certain exceptions. For example, SF4. In SF4, there are 4 bond pair and one lone pair will occupy the equatorial position and therefore it will show seesaw geometry. Now when we are discussing hexahalides, among hexahalides only hexafluorides are the stable halides. They are octahedral in shape and all are gaseous in nature. For example, SF6. SF6, although it is a violation of octet rule, it is the most stable compound. Sulfur will be occupied by 6 fluorine atoms. And since larger sulfur is surrounded by small 6 fluorine atoms, therefore SF6 is chemically inert. Do not get easily attacked. Or it is resistant towards hydrolysis. One reason, the steric hindrance by 6 fluorine atoms around sulfur. Now all these questions are very important and there is only one keyword answer. Steric hindrance by 6 fluorine atom. Fluorine atom, they are small in size and they surround larger sulfur atom. Now just we'll compare the hexafluoride with hexahydride. Suppose I consider SH6. Now SF6 is a known compound but SH6 do not exist. It is because hydrogen is very small in size and therefore it will not be able to surround sulfur from all the sides and this compound do not exist. This is again one of the important reasoning question. So in today's video, we have discussed the oxidation state as well as we have discussed the chemical properties of group 16 elements. Here are certain self-to-do questions for you people based on today's video. That's all for the day. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.